Welcome to a new fragrance review. Today we're gonna smell 8 of the 40 most used ingredient in perfumery, and it's the part 3 out of 5 that we're gonna see today. So again, what we're gonna smell are either natural essential oil or absolute. That is something that is taken out of a plant or part of a plant. And aroma chemicals that are basically usually either those natural ingredient that they isolate something, or sometimes it's one of those ingredient or anything else that they put together, they do some chemical reaction, and they come up with a molecule that smells something. And today we're gonna start with Hedione. Hedione that is really used in a lot of perfume. It says that it's used in Sauvage by Dior, which is one of the famous place where you can see this ingredient. I would say most perfume have that ingredient, like Sauvage by Dior also have it. I think it's famously known also in Acqua di Gio. I'm not quite sure, but I think in Acqua di Gio they disclose it as a note. Sometimes you will see the note of jasmine and you will not be able to smell jasmine in the perfume. And when you see it, it's what it is. It's Hedione, most of the time. There's also the note of cyclamen. If you see that in the note of a perfume, it might be Hedione also. Hedione is a special molecule. Most molecule will smell something, and yeah, they will all interact with each other and all, depending what you put. But Hedione is used mainly, if not only, because of its impact on other notes. It's not like they will use civet, for example, because they want civet to smell. They want the civet smell in the fragrance. No one really wants Hedione in the fragrance, the smell of Hedione, even though it doesn't smell bad, but it enhances the other. It helps with the projection. It helps in many ways. Of course, the Hedione will smell something also. So sometimes it's not the direction you want to take, so it will not always be there, but it will often be there for those reasons more than other. When I smell it, I get a little bit of jasmine, but it's really barely, and I wouldn't call this jasmine specifically. I would say it's a green jasmine that goes a little bit toward more floral than a green jasmine. This is the best way I could describe this. And as a note description, floral, oily, jasmine, milky, and green. Next ingredient is Helichrysum, that is written in the book, and the bottle is also saying Immortelle, which is flower. And this one is, not sure if it's absolute or essential oil. It doesn't really matter, but it's one of those two things. The example they put there, it's Eau Noire by Dior. It's not a note that I see often in perfumery, so it's a bit rare, though it's a really nice note, and I think it could be used a bit more. Well, it's still part of the 40 most used ingredients, so it's not like rare. It's not as common as the other, and I would say out of the 40, it might be like in the top 5 less used ingredient, at least nowadays. The other example are stuff that I don't know. There's Sable by Goutal and Écume de Rose by Les Parfums de Rosine. I don't know those perfumes, but there are also examples. I don't have any examples right now that I can think of with that specific note. Best way I can tell you what it smells is when you go in a field that is abandoned or that is not like really taken care of, that there's all those weird plants growing everywhere as they want. There's always some little flowers that kind of smell nothing, that they don't smell nothing, but they smell nothing. And when you smell them, you'll smell more the plant than the actual smell of the flower. This is how I can describe this to you. And I would say it doesn't smell like a concentrate of that, but really like the idea of really taking the flower, smelling it. This is really how I smell it on the paper. In the book, it says that it smells caramel, warm, sweet, hay, fruity, and honey. It doesn't say floral, but I would say probably the honey, fruity that they say, it's what I would say it's floral. Next ingredient is elyonol, and elyonol says it's one of the important molecules that is used in ozonic accord. And the example it says is Dazzling silver, and I think Dazzling silver, from what I see in the book, is also a name that is used to refer to elyonol. I have absolutely no other example of perfume that use Eleanol. I don't have any specific example of perfume that has a strong Eleanol note in it neither. If you know what Dazzling Silver by Lauder smells like, great. If you don't, you can also buy that little kit that I'm smelling right now. I would see where they want to go with that ozonic. I once worked in a place where they take care of the goods and stuff when, let's say, you have a fire and you have a flood or something like that. You know, there's company that come and clean everything for you. They bring all your stuff, they clean it and put it back, and all the furniture is clean with ozone. What they do is that they close the door and they activate machines that create ozone that in the end remove the smell, and that thing smells extremely bad, extremely strong. So I know what the actual smell of ozone is. I need to tell you that I've never actually smelled, I think once maybe smelled something that the ozonic note really smell like ozone, but I would say it's more citrusy. All the time that they say ozone as a note is really a citrus note. It's a distinct citrus note, but it's a citrus note. I would say it smells citrus, maybe a little bit toward the lemon type of citrus. There's definitely an aspect of lemon, but more like lemon juice than lemon peel and the actual lemon that we're used to smell in perfumery. I would say that it has aspect of nature. Like it smells a bit green, a bit floral, a bit citrusy, even though citrus is not quite. It smells like the air also. And yeah, definitely it does have some ozonic notes on it. But I would say it smells more like air, like outside, but like a good outside. And in the note description, it says that it's floral, green, aldehydic, ozone, and in ozone there's a little parenthesis that says fresh air and marine. And yeah, a good way to describe it with that fresh air and marine, it's outside next to a lake. This is what it smells like. Next ingredient is Heliotropin. The example it says for heliotropin is Jiki by Guerlain, which is also the first perfume made by Guerlain. And this one, just like 2 drops on the paper, that far I can smell it. Project a lot. It says also that that ingredient is in Après L'Ondée by Guerlain also. It smells kind of powdery, like a powdery vanilla. It says, like under the title Heliotropin, it says powdery sweet vanilla. And I would say that it's not like super sweet, but since it's vanilla, there's of course a little bit of sweetness. I would see this ingredient probably used in Noir Extrême by Tom Ford. I think the vanilla note in it reminds me a little bit of it. In the note description, it says that it's powdery, sweet coconut and vanilla. I didn't really pick up any coconut. It says also in stronger concentration. It smells like Play-Doh. So I would assume that depending how much you concentrate it, it will smell more or less coconut, more or less vanilla, and more or less Play-Doh. Next ingredient is hydroxycitronellal, and it says also muguet. I don't know if it says here muguet hydroxycitronellal, and here it says hydroxycitronellal muguet. It's 2 different names for it. It says that it smells like lily of the valley. It says like classic lily of the valley. And the example there is Diorissimo by Dior. Another example they give is Quelques Fleurs by Houbigant. Another one I don't have an example. This one, the projection is not strong, but the smell on it is really strong. So the name is Classic Lily of the Valley, so it smells like the classic way of how Lily of the Valley occur. But to give more explanation on what it smells, I would say it's soft. The floralness of it is really soft, maybe a little bit more green, woody. I see with the smell, white will be used so much because it has floral aspect, green aspect, woody aspect. So pretty much anything you would be doing as a perfume, pretty much, not everything, but pretty much everything you would do, you'd be able to make it fit as an ingredient. It smells like a soft flower that, you know, one of those flowers that almost don't smell anything, but that still smells something. It's the best way I could describe it. The way they describe it in the book, it says that it's floral, sweet, woody, and green. Next ingredient is Ionon alpha, and in the book it says the ionones. There's different use of it, but not most, but like the base of ionones is the smell of violet. Now I open this and I can smell it. And what it reminds me, and it's not an example there, and weirdly, yeah, it's here, we're gonna see it. It's not the fragrance that it says there, but what it reminds me of a lot is Fahrenheit by Dior. There's a little, it's not, it doesn't smell like Fahrenheit only. There's other stuff in Fahrenheit, but the note reminds me a little bit of Fahrenheit. Reminds me a little bit also of pretty much all the violet fragrance, in fact. So if you smelled Hommage à l'Homme, if you smelled Burberry Touch for Men, they're the first three examples that come to my mind, but mostly if you smell the violet fragrance. It's probably what they used for the violet smell. The example they give is Violette de Toulouse by Berdoux, and gives other example, which is Violet Mints by Choward. It says that in the book that there's also orris smell, and probably used in different accord that smell orris, but for me it's more violet note. The note description, it says warm floral, woody, violet, and orris, and I would also agree, well, I would agree with all of it, but I would also agree with the woody aspect of it. Though it's more floral, it's also a bit woody. Next ingredient is isobutavane, and the example they say for this ingredient is Amen by Mugler, and I just put a drop on the paper and I can smell it, and from that distance I would say it smells a lot like cream soda. And sometimes ingredient in perfumery are also ingredients that are used in the food industry, so it might be exactly what they're putting into cream soda, because really smell like cream soda. It says that it's elegant and modern vanilla. That's the way they describe it, and it's the only example they have is Amen. In the case you never smelled what cream soda smelled like, vanilla, a bit, it's sweet. It says just sweet in the note description, but I would say almost like sugar, like a sugary vanilla. This is how I would describe it. But it's not like the usual vanilla. It's more of a synthetic vanilla, but it still smells good. In the note description, it says vanilla, sweet, and fruity. And I don't think it's really fruity, but I would assume with other ingredient, the fruitiness could take over. I would see this in like cherry fragrance also. It doesn't smell cherry, but I feel it will complement the smell of cherry really well. And next ingredient, it's Iso E Super, and the example they give a lot of example of this one because it's one ingredient that is used really often. Example they give, it's not a good example in my opinion, and it's Fahrenheit by Dior. And would it be a better example in EINO maybe, or in other notes, because it's not known for the Iso E Super, it's known for the violet and the leather and the gasoline smell, and none of those notes are created by the Iso E Super. Another example they give is Halston Féminin, which is the first time that it was used. There's In Paris by Yves Saint Laurent. There's Giorgio by Giorgio Beverly Hills. Trésor by Lancôme, which would actually have been a better example because Trésor has a lot of Iso E Super in it. They say that there's 25% of Dior Fahrenheit that is Iso E Super and 20 in Trésor. So I guess that it's not remembered for the Iso E Super, even though it's there. So when I smell it, the first thing I think about is like a woody, ambery note, but it's really more soft amber. Because amber, usually it's either really sweet and it's not really sweet, or it's really dry and not harsh, and it's not really dry neither. They call it velvety smoothness, and it's indeed really soft and smooth when you smell it. And yeah, a smooth woody note would be a good way to describe it. I know sometimes it's declared as cedar in fragrance, and it's not like super cedary, but I would get that with other ingredient, this might occur more as a cedar note, maybe more in the dry down also. Fragrance note and the ingredient, the way they dry down might give it a cedar note. The note description is mild, smooth, woody, amber, and unique velvety feel. And another perfume that has quite famous for that, but I would call it famous also for that, it's Bleu de Chanel. Or also it's in the top 40 ingredient, might easily be in the top 10, maybe more. So it's in a lot of perfume. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, well, like and share. Also, tell me what you think about it. There's 2 videos left where I will analyze a lot of other ingredient. So stay connected. Subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. And in 2 weeks, there will be the next one. And in 4 weeks from now, there will be the last video of the series. So, thanks for watching. See you soon.